492 people were packed onto a single Thai cargo ship, riding it across the Pacific for 3 months, all of them gambling everything on reaching Canada. When that ship finally reached British Columbia in August 2010, they were not welcomed ashore. They were placed in detention. The vessel was the MV Sun Sea, and its arrival became one of Canada's most contentious refugee moments. It matters because it forced a hard question into the open. What does a wealthy country owe to people fleeing a war that has just ended when they arrive all at once, by sea, uninvited? Here is what happened. The passengers were Sri Lankan Tamils fleeing the violence of the Sri Lankan Civil War, which had ended in 2009. They boarded the Sun Sea in Thailand and endured a 3-month voyage across the ocean. This was not a quiet crossing that slipped past the authorities. The United States and Canada had been tracking the ship since June of 2010, watching it, trying to anticipate exactly where it would come ashore. On August 12, 2010, the Sun Sea was intercepted off the coast of British Columbia and boarded by Canadian authorities. It did not sail in alone. 2 Navy vessels, HMCS Winnipeg and HMCS Whitehorse, escorted it in, and on August 13 it docked at CFB Esquimalt. On board were 492 Sri Lankan asylum seekers. 380 were men, 63 were women, and 49 were children. Every single one of them made a refugee claim, citing the violence in Sri Lanka and the civil war they had escaped. What came next drew the criticism. On August 14th and 15th, the adult migrants were moved into what were officially called accommodation and detention facilities in the Lower Mainland, the populated region around Vancouver. The children were taken to low-risk facilities, and where a child had come with a parent, they were kept with their mothers. Officials from the Harper government defended the handling of the arrivals, but advocacy groups pushed back hard against the decision to detain people who had crossed an ocean to seek refuge. To understand why this landed the way it did, it helps to know who these people were. Sri Lankan Tamils, sometimes called Ceylon Tamils or Elam Tamils, are native to the island nation of Sri Lanka. They form a majority in the country's northern province and the largest group in the eastern province, but across the rest of the country they are a minority. Roughly 70% of them live in those northern and eastern provinces. This was a community that had lived through a long and brutal conflict, and the Sun Sea carried a slice of that population directly to Canada's Pacific shore. British Columbia, where they landed, is Canada's westernmost province, sitting between the Pacific Ocean and the Rocky Mountains. Vancouver, its largest city, anchors the third largest metropolitan area in the country. It is a place defined, in part, by the people who have arrived there from across the world. And in the summer of 2010, 492 more had arrived, only to be met with detention rather than open doors. The Sun Sea became a test case for how Canada would treat mass maritime arrivals, and the tension it exposed did not resolve on the dock. It set the stage for years of debate over detention, over refugee claims, and over how a country balances security against the obligation to shelter people fleeing violence. Every person who stepped off that ship now had to make their case, one claim at a time, inside a system that had already chosen to hold them. What happened to those 492 people, and how their claims were judged, would shape the argument over asylum by sea for years to come. That's it for this one. Watch this next. Why Al Shabaab bombed the World Cup crowd in Uganda.